So over the past few years, I've explored all different types of lead generation strategies for going about prospecting, generating traffic, acquiring clients. And one of the strategies that I've used very consistently over the last year has been email campaigns, email outreach campaigns. So in this video, I want to talk about what I've learned from doing email outreach and sort of some of the strategies and best practices that I believe are very helpful when you are looking to do outreach for an offer that you might have, or even just generate traffic or attention for a product or a service that you're looking to promote. And so if that sounds interesting to you, please hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and let's get right into this video. So first of all, I've got to give a big shout out to Nick Sarayev, who I've learned a lot of the way I kind of operate when it comes to sending out emails and sort of the chops that I've developed. A lot of it came from his frameworks and strategies that I've used. And so email I've come to really like for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it's a good way of being able to send out messages and do outreach at scale. So with platforms now like Instantly AI, for example, you also have Smart Lead. I mostly use Instantly though. It's really great for being able to send out mass emails. Uh, and then with automation tools that exist, with AI platforms that exist, you can really put together very solid campaigns. And even though it could take some time to set up, once you've got it going, once it's running, then it's kind of almost doing its own thing. And you really just have to worry about replying to the emails and keeping it going and sort of replenishing the leads that you're sending outreach messages to. And then you'll do campaigns and different campaigns over time. And so setting up new campaigns is also a part of it. But what email feels like when you're doing it from a sales standpoint, for example, is that it feels like something is just always kind of running in the background, and you're also able to test a lot. So you're able to see what's working well and what's not working as well. Be able to see what kind of messaging resonates with your target group and what isn't hitting the way you would like it to. And then you can gather that data and sort of adjust it from there. I've learned that there are so many different factors that go into an effective email campaign, but also even a campaign that'll resonate with an audience. And then you'll also find that sometimes you can send out emails and it'll resonate with one party, and then the next party, uh, it'll not resonate at all. So that's to say that you never fully know how it's going to come off until you actually just put it out there. It's almost like creating content where what you think might uh, go viral, for example, or what you think might resonate may not be what ends up catching on, but then something that you don't expect may end up landing well. And that's why consistency is so important, because you need to get enough reps in, and you need to also have enough in the way of shots that you've put up to, number one, be able to determine whether something is working well or not, and also just to give an opportunity for the market to give a feedback on what your strategy is. And so we saw a previous video that I did on one-click inbox setups. You'll see how to set up inboxes within Instantly. You can get domains and you can get email inboxes for a reasonable price. So $5 per inbox, $15 annually for the domain, $5 a month for the inbox. And once you have the emails, and I kind of go uh, around 30 emails per inbox in order to keep the health score up high. And so you're looking at, if you're sending out 300 emails a day to start, which is kind of what I started with in the beginning, then you're looking at 10 inboxes. So that'll be 10 inboxes and 4 domains. And then if you are looking to, let's say, do 1,000 emails a day, then you would need three to four times that. So you'd be looking at probably about 30 four inboxes. So 10 inboxes would be 300. 30 inboxes would be 900. So I believe that'll be 34 inboxes to do about 1,000 emails a day. And emails can largely be a numbers game because what you're looking to do, get a percentage of the, it's partly a numbers game because from a marketing and sales standpoint, what you're doing is you're calculating how many emails you have to send out in order to ultimately get a conversion. And so a percentage of the emails that you send out, if you have an effective offer, will lead to a specific number of people who will lead to a specific number of people who open the email, and then a percentage of those people who open the email will respond to you, and then you'll have a percentage who likely give you a positive response, and a percentage that gives you a negative response, and then of the positive responses, then those may lead to some sort of meeting or demo or more information being sent, and then from the meeting, the idea is that you'd be able to get a conversion. And so if you are sending out these emails, the percentage that you're really looking for is between 1 to 4% for your responses. And then from there, you're looking to see, all right, let's say you send out 10,000 emails, and how many bookings is how many responses do you get from that 10,000? How many bookings come as a result of that? And then how many lead to a conversion from there? And so what I've learned is that the offer is actually very important. People talk about email being a numbers game, but the offer is also equally important. The target group, the group that you're targeting, is also very important as well. Are you targeting the right people who need or at least will show an interest in what you have to offer? And then is the messaging that's going to land? Does it feel warm? Is it something that makes people want to respond? And when you're doing email, one thing that you can start to pay attention to, and if you've been running a business for a while, then this is something that you'll probably be able to do. If you haven't been, then you may not have that opportunity. But what I like to do is I get a lot of emails in my inboxes from other people trying to sell me services. Sometimes it might be around, getting onto podcasts, or it might be around, like I get a lot of people who want to help me with my YouTube or do thumbnails or help me grow my YouTube. And I notice that there are most emails I ignore, and I don't respond to. They don't resonate with me. Sometimes I want more information. Someone might send me something, and it actually piques my interest, but then they usually jump to let's hop on a call. Whereas I would actually just like to see what the hook that they kind of led with. I want a little bit more information. And then there's certain emails where they just stand out from most of what I get sent. And those emails that really resonate or that really stand out, or just felt like that was a little bit different, I tend to actually save them. Like I'll archive those emails and I'll study them, and I'll really try to understand like what resonated with me emotionally, to where I either wanted to respond, or I might have even hopped on a call in some instances, or it actually made me feel good. And so I have some examples of that within even campaigns that I've done here, and it hasn't always been the ones that I would expect. So I remember earlier this year I ran a campaign around a content automation offer. So I have a site, content.pinterestmedia.com. It's not a current offer that I'm really running, but idea is that you'll be able to fill up your content calendar very quickly. Had a demo here. You put a transcript in for, it could be a podcast, it could be from your a meeting that you've done, and then it'll turn the transcript into different forms of content, like LinkedIn posts and tweets and so on and so forth. And this was an offer I ran, and then I had email sequence for this offer, and I got a lot of positive responses to this. I say that to say that really just putting it out there and seeing what the market says, seeing the feedback you get is very important. But then also understanding a location as well. So it's not even just the particular industry, but it's also where are they from. So I've noticed that when I'm doing outreach, particularly for the kind of work that I do, which is around AI and automation, people in Dubai and people in these places where they're very forward thinking and they're kind of ahead of the curve tend to resonate the most with any sort of services that I'm kind of presenting them with. Some places within the U.S. like Miami or Atlanta, there's certain places more than others where the responses tend to be more consistent. So there are a lot of factors that can go into what the experience is like doing these campaigns. And I say all this to say that if you haven't done campaigns in the past, or you're kind of figuring it out and you're kind of working through things, it's important to just like put stuff out there, because you're not going to be able to get that conviction and that confidence and that comfort of just doing the outreach or doing the campaigns, whether that's email or other lead generation strategies, unless you just put it out there. And so, if you're someone who's kind of just getting started with a campaign, I'm going to assume that you have a list already. So, let's say you have a list. You want to first of all make sure that it's in CSV form. So if you upload it to like a Google Drive, and then um, you then open it and download it as a CSV form, you're gonna take that over to Instantly, and then in Instantly you're gonna take that over to the campaign tab at the left. You're gonna click on that. You're gonna start a new campaign. It's gonna bring you to this page here. You're going to click on add leads. You're going to upload CSV. You're going to drag and drop your CSV form. And then it's going to ask you what you want to be a part of the entries that get entered into the system. And so you're going to choose, obviously, email, but you can choose email, name, and whatever will be a part of the messages that you send out. So in my case, typically, email and name are important. And then I will also put in sometimes I'll do like a personalized intro, which is an automation feature, uh, where what I'll actually do is I will enrich. And so in the process of putting my list together, I enrich the contacts that I get. And so I get all the LinkedIn information, and then I will take all the information I have of them, and I actually create these personalized lead workflows where it'll go and look at the sheet, and then it'll use ChatGPT within the workflow to create a personalized icebreaker, opening line about the uh, person that I'm reaching out to. And it'll then create that first line within the sheet. And so you'll see like all these different first lines here. And something I learned during that process was to make it very short. Right. When I first started doing it, it would be like 2, 3 sentences long, and it just sounded too robotic, sounded too much like AI. But when it's like a sentence long, it actually tends to resonate more, and it doesn't sound so much like AI. And so I'll have a custom variable when you're adding the leads in. They'll give you an option to put a custom variable, and then I can start. So the personal intro would be the first name, and then whatever that line was. So, for example, if I show you preview here, this was the first name, Alexandros. I admire your impressive ability to seamlessly manage complex exhibitions with a positive can-do attitude while maintaining impeccable attention to detail. And so that's how it would start. And then it will go and give you the rest of the actual email. I work with Pinterest Media, helping founders increase the output of quality, authentic content. Love for you to demo this new concept I've developed called the Content Catalyst. So that was the first email. I typically have 3 emails in my sequences. The second email and the third email are basically rephrasing the first, email that I did. Second one, I'll usually have some bullets. The third email, I'll stop it right there. A lot of people will go as far as like sending out 6 emails, and sometimes when you get to number 5 or number 6, you start getting responses. But I kind of like to keep it cool. I feel like 3 is enough for it to still kind of be tasteful, in my opinion. Um, and also that's just kind of what I learned to do. And so I'll send out a sequence of 3 emails, and then if you're looking to figure out what to put in your emails. So again, I have a framework that I've always kind of been. I have a framework that I've been using for the last year, but you can take what your offer is, or what services you provide. You can take that to a LLM, ChatGPT, Claude and have it create that email campaign for you. And then you can also take a look at other offers that might be like yours, or the industry that you're in, to see kind of what other people send out. I highly encourage you to use a platform like Manus, for example, where Manus can actually do research for you. You can have it go and you can type a prompt in for it to go and do a search for email campaigns that are being sent out for your particular industry, and so you can get some context on the kind of language and messaging that can work. ChatGPT just literally came out with an agent mode that can do the same thing as Manus, and it'll use a combination of ChatGPT's deep research agent and its operator agent, which has the ability to browse the web through this virtual computer within ChatGPT, and it can go and do research for you. Or you can simply use the deep research feature and have it go and accumulate a comprehensive, just large amount of information about emailing and cold emails, and you can learn everything you need to know. And so I say all that to say that we're living in a time where literally all the information is accessible to you. And if ever in doubt, you can just take it to the LLM. And the the challenge that one would have with doing a cold email campaign, for example, is the fact that you may not necessarily sure you may not necessarily be sure what is a good email that's being sent out, or what is going to be effective in your campaigns. But you aren't necessarily going to know until you start sending it out. And basically, you want to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And also just know that your offer is very important. So if you have case studies to show, right? If you have examples to provide, if you're able to provide upfront value. In my case, I had a demo where people are able to literally try it out. And when they put the transcript in here and it says give, and they click on give me content right now, they'll literally get an email with LinkedIn posts and Instagram posts and tweets. And they're actually seeing the product that they're going to get I, uh, when I work with them. So as much value as you're able to show up front is very helpful. And I'll also say that I got to a point where, as much as I do leverage emails for outreach campaigns and for the offers that I have, I also now look at emails. There was a shout out to Cody Schneider. I got this phrase from him where he talks about this idea of digital mass, accumulating digital mass. And so I look at a lot of the activity that I do online in general as that. And digital mass, what it means is you're putting self in front of an audience in different channels. So you may send out and do an email campaign, and then those very same people you do an email campaign, they may see a post that you did on LinkedIn, and then they may see a YouTube video that's more long form and helps with building trust on the same topic that the email blast was on and the LinkedIn post is on. And then they may get a newsletter from you. And then they may see a short form content on TikTok from you. They're seeing you everywhere. And so in that way, you're now starting to build digital mass. And the thing about AI is that because you're able to put out content so much more frequently, because you're able to put out more content because the AI can create the content for you. And when you bring your actual voice to it, so what I do is the meetings that I have, the conversations that I have, the thoughts that I have, I try to record as much as possible so that I can provide that context to the LLM, because that will make the actual content output when I'm prompting actually be in my voice and actually be high quality and not be devoid of substance, and not be service level. And so with that, you can start creating systems where you can put out content at a faster rate, and it can become self-improving. Because let's say you have an example of 10 Instagram posts that you've done, captions for Instagram posts that you've done. You can feed that to the AI, and then have the AI create your next caption, and it'll be that much more likely to get it closer to what you actually want it to be, because it has a bunch of examples to actually choose from. So the more, it's like the more you do, the easier it then becomes when you're feeding it to the AI. And that's in the space of what is now being called context engineering, and that you're providing a lot of context to these AI so that it's able to know your voice and able to help you with um, the task that you're looking for and task that you're looking to have carried out. In this case, content. And so, digital mass. And when I think about whether it's email outreach that I do, YouTube videos that I do, when I'm posting on Twitter, when I'm doing an Instagram post, I'm thinking about just how I'm building up digital mass, and I'm looking at my goal being to just increase my overall presence on the internet. There's this concept of 7411. I believe it's called 7411. Let me type it in. 7411 concept. Explain it. It's definitely not what I'm talking about. 7411 concept in marketing. Yeah, but it's 7411 framework. So 7411 framework is the idea that people need to consume at least 7 hours of your content before they trust you enough to buy. So podcasts, YouTube videos, and so forth. They need to experience you in 4 different locations. So that could be physically, but that could also be, if you're talking online, 4 different channels. And then it needs to be 11 different touch points. So they get an email from you, that you cold DM them. You get it, an ad that you had done, um, comment on their post, or 11 different touch points. And at that point, they'll be ready to buy. And it's the process of building that know, like, trust. People not feel like they know you, like you, and trust you to do business with them. And so when I think about building up digital mass, when I think about the idea of the 7411, and when I think about sending out cold emails, I look at it from a standpoint of how am I building up my overall presence, and showing the mastery that I'm achieving in my craft. One last thing I would like to say on cold emails is that it's also really good for just promotion in general. If you're sending out ads, let's say you're doing Facebook or Instagram ads, I believe it may be $10 or $11 per 1,000 impressions. If you're sending out, if you're doing ads, the cost to actually get a return on it, or for it to have an impact on a campaign that you're doing, is a lot higher than when you're sending out emails. You can do email campaigns for pennies on the dollar. You have to pay for the lead list that you may be aggregating, enriching those leads, really getting it so it's a quality list of people that you're sending out those emails to, and then you have the cost around the actual sending platform, like instantly. So it could be a couple $100, but at the same time, the return that you can get in the case of making a sale, or in the case of being able to just do outreach at scale, makes it warranted when you compare it to the amount you would spend for other kinds of marketing avenues. So I do like it also for just general promotion, as well. And these sites like Apollo or Clay or Triggerfy, like these platforms that are out here, have made it so accessible to build these lists and send out messages. So, with all of that said, that's kind of how I think about cold emailing. I think about outreach in regard to email, in regard to the idea of digital mass. And if you want me to do more videos specifically on cold emails, outreach, or the space of how you can leverage automation in order to make the outreach a little bit more tailored or custom or personalized, let me know. But with that said, this is how you go about setting up an effective email campaign, and thinking through how to do your email outreach.